For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
St. Jude Hospital is back in the news. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the world's most monitored talk show, NewsSpin, on the NewsSpin Facebook page, as well as the NewsSpin YouTube channel and Power 97.9 FM. We go up until 2 o'clock this afternoon with your calls at 452-2979, 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026, and Amanda will be going through some of your comments in the chat room. We hope you had yourself a safe and enjoyable weekend, and you're looking forward to life being a lot better in this part of the world, St. Lucia. All right, what's happening with the St. Jude Hospital reconstruction project? Well, we came across this documentary by Dale Elliott, and Dale has been very consistent as far as producing documentaries on this embarrassment of a project, and we, all of us, should be embarrassed. Whether you are in government, whether you're outside of the government, whether you are part of the opposition, or whether you are part of civil society, you could ask yourself, what role could you have played to ensure that St. Lucia would have had a St. Jude Hospital that was functional about 16 years after that fire in the south of the island? And the kind of investments that all of us have made over the last few years. And those finances have been wasted and cannot be accounted for. But rest assured, if the reconstruction work is completed within the next few months, or maybe next year, whenever, whatever party that is in office will take credit for it instead of hiding its head in shame. Because we are all definitely responsible for this calamity that we have allowed to happen in St. Lucia since that fire of 2009 and since several administrations, at least 4 prime ministers, and we are yet to deliver this project. So the latest documentary by Dale Elliott is entitled St. Jude, A Promise Resurrected. And we have a clip to play because he is interviewing one of the employees of the company that's responsible for that project, and he brings up a particular shortcoming, no pun intended, a low ceiling.
So yes, Mr. Gajadhar has done certain things but those were all in good spirit. Those were all had good intention for him to get it done. And his only objective was to make it happen. That's what he did.
So this here would be a big problem for most of the people coming to your hospital. It is one of the greatest criticisms for reverting to this building.
Right.
I am 6'4", and I can remove this. I can play with the fire alarm. Why? Why should we accept a ceiling height that is so low in an institution that you want to have accredited?
So yes, Mr. Gajadhar has done certain things but those were all in good spirit. Those were all had good intention for him to get it done. And his only objective was to make it happen. That's what he did.
So this here would be a big problem for most of the people coming to your hospital. It is one of the greatest criticisms for reverting to this building.
Right.
I am 6'4", and I can remove this. I can play with the fire alarm. Why? Why should we accept a ceiling height that is so low in an institution that you want to have accredited?
In this clip there, Dale was exaggerating because he's not 6'4". But we get the point, those of us who watched the documentary and paid attention to that particular clip. On the line, we have an individual whose administration was in office, and he had the opportunity to deliver the St. Jude Hospital to the people of this country, but I'm sure he'll explain why it was not successful. And that is former Prime Minister, Mr. Alan Chastanet. Hello, good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon, Tim. How are you?
I'm okay. How about you?
Great. First of all, I want to really thank Dale for doing that piece. I know he's done a series of pieces on really this disaster called St. Jude Hospital. But I think that his piece, when you look at components of it, I mean, you just played the part with regards to the low ceiling. There was the issue with the inclines and the steepness of the inclines and the width of the hallways, and also the smallness of some of the rooms to be able to have equipment. And the bigger part really is how much it was going to cost to fix up St. Jude's. So when we came into government in 2016, we went in clearly with the intention of finishing the building. And it's when we did our own physical assessment that we realized there was a problem. And not to take our own word for it, we brought professionals in. And I want us to really appreciate that. We brought in FDL, which is an engineering firm, happens to be based out of St. Lucia, but is the engineering firm that CDB uses the most. And FDL were paid about $1 million, I think it was a little bit less than $1 million, to do a full audit. Now, this was not a forensic audit. So for your listeners, a forensic audit means it was not an audit that went in and looked at the all the financial numbers. What it was really was a physical audit and to determine where we were with St. Jude's. And he brought in persons trained in healthcare, University of West Indies, and also some persons from Italy. When we received the report, Tim, the report was scary, because what the report said is, unlike the pronouncements of the Labour Party, which were trying to say that it would take another 3 to 6 months to complete the hospital, and that all you needed was a maximum of somewhere between $10 and $30 million. And you'll remember that famous line, paint and chemical, to be able to complete the hospital. The report did not say that. The report substantiated the letter that was sent to Kenny Anthony in April of 2016, 2 months before the elections, that said they're going to need another 8 or 9 months to complete the hospital and another $100 million. This report said their initial assessment was that it would cost minimum $100 million to finish the hospital. But there was a caveat, and there's a 140-page report. And the caveat was that they would not be able to make a final assessment as to how much it was going to cost to complete the project and whether, in fact, the project could be completed, because they would have to look at the electricals, they would have to look at the plumbing, they would have to look at the sewage. There were clear, visible issues with the roof, and there were certainly rooms that did not meet the height levels and the width of the hallways. And so they said that more than likely it's going to take longer, and it's going to be more than $100 million. So it was on the basis of that, Tim, that my government decided, if it's going to cost more than $100 million, and we've already spent $130 million, how much is it going to cost to build a purpose-built building? And that was somewhere between $180 and $200 million. And that's the choice that we were confronted with at that time. And we made a decision that, given what we wanted to do in the south of the island, where we wanted to take St. Lucia, because it can't be made in isolation of that, because you were expanding the airport 3 times the size. You were now going to be building in a home port facility in Vieux-Fort. You had new hotels that were going to be coming in, residential areas. You had the horse race track. You had all of these different things that you were contemplating in the south, all the way down to Sabacha, where you were having now a new 400-room hotel that was going in there. You had the Galaxy project. So when you looked at all of those things, it made sense to build a more modern, purpose-built hospital that could handle that additional capacity. And we were looking at not only at a domestic hospital, i.e. to replace the old St. Jude's, but also now an international hospital to get into different business. So it means that solutions would be less reliant on going to Martinique or going somewhere else to be able to get their healthcare, to bring those healthcare services to St. Lucia, and also now to attract Vincentians, Dominicans, Antiguans, a whole bunch of other places to be able to use the one. And the big one, Tim, was really the cruise ships, because we were doing the home porting for the cruise ships, that we had entered into a preliminary agreement with the cruise lines that they would bring their crew to our international hospital, which would generate business for it. And one of the big benefits, Tim, and to your audience, was that we would co-share cost. So it means that the laboratory, the MRI machine, the X-ray machine, and key staff members, that the international hospital and the local hospital would pay part of their cost. So from a financial perspective, it was making a lot more sense. And then the last piece in it was to say, what could we use the old building for? And the goal was to use the old building as a university. And we were looking specifically at nursing. So when we talk about going to help our nurses right now, I applaud that. But you're talking about maximum 30 nurses a year that you're producing. Whereas we're now looking to generate hundreds of nurses, and also to become a major training ground, because the fastest growing jobs internationally is in nursing because of the aging population. So we saw it not only to be able to train nurses for our local market, but also to train nurses that could get jobs internationally. So we thought that was a big benefit. So going back to Dale's report, Dale's report has now validated what we were saying, because we all now see it for ourselves. 4 years later, The hospital is not close to being completed. If you notice, they didn't show any of the wards. They only showed the emergency ward. They showed some of the structural problems that were there before. And Dale specifically showed the height of one of the rooms. And there was also a piece with the gurney going around the corner and the inclination. But I would say to you, the thing that struck me the most about Dale's report was the interview with Renault, where Renault basically said they'd gotten to the point it did not matter how much money it was going to cost to complete the building. That's a damning statement. And he went on to say, almost like bragging like it was some great achievement, that he'd become the best friends with British Airways because they were flying all of this equipment in. I mean, anybody who is in the transportation of heavy equipment knows the difference between the cost of flying equipment in, which is faster, but the reason why people put it in containers is because it's so much cheaper. And then when he said that some of the equipment was coming in and that they had to alter it in order for it to fit into the room. And that coincides with a repeated theme that you heard from Neil Williams and you heard from the engineer or the manager on the project. And they kept on asking him, do you think that this is the way it should be? And they kept on saying, we are working with what was given to us. Now, for me, what that implied was, this is not necessarily the best place we could have been, but we're all trying to make it work. And is that what solutions have come down to? Is that what this whole issue has come down to? It doesn't matter how much it costs, but just make it work. And whether, in fact, that this is going to really help us in moving the South forward. And what's the operating cost going to be? So it seems that there's a fixation more on moving into this building and proving themselves correct. But I want to say that the time that has passed by, the amount of money that's been spent, which is clearly over $200 million and counting, clearly has already now dismissed that argument. That was a bad decision. And I'm being mild when I say an irresponsible, a reckless decision on behalf by the government to move back into the old building and to leave a brand new purpose-built building for a hospital. What kind of hatred, what kind of wickedness must be in your mind to justify that? And Dale's video redeems us. Now, I don't get gratification in that, because I want to know who is going to pay the price for this irresponsible decision. And sadly, it's going to be solutions. That's who's going to pay the price. And for a man who's not, the money is not coming from his pocket, to look people in the eye through the camera and say, it doesn't matter how much money it's going to cost. What kind of madman would say that? This is crazy. This is egregious and outrageous and irresponsible. And it's so sad that people who want to say they have a vision for the country, where's the vision? Anybody who has a slight vision for the country could have never agreed to make that decision. And we're seeing the same thing when it comes to the halls of justice. Doesn't matter how much money. You see now you're going to go and acquire land for $14-15 million. We see the same thing taking place with GPH. That the government is going to get $12 a head, and you decide you're going to give away all the money. What we see going on with CIP. But Tim, I want to thank Dale for that video. I really want to encourage people to go and look at it for themselves and see for themselves 4 years later the progress that they have made. And all this is an attempt to mama guy the people of this country, and in order to protect the victory. That's all it was. Right? A thing that was supposed to be less than a year and some chemical, and here we are 4 years later. I mean, and that's why I love my constituents from Micoud South, Because one of them said to me after they saw the video, they said, Mr. Chastanet, imagine if you had decided to go back into that old hospital and COVID had come. I don't believe that you would have completed that hospital and what people would have said about you. Now, it doesn't matter what people say about me. It was what was the right thing to do at the time. And I'm very proud that our party took the time, did the proper assessment, and that report that was done by FDL was spot on. And all the deficiencies that it identified have now been proven to be correct. That it was going to be more than $100 million, and the hospital that you're going to end up with is going to be much less than the standards we need for today.
I have a couple of comments via WhatsApp I'd like you to react to. Somebody says, when I listen to Alan Chastanet, clearly I could hear a plan for health care and development in the South. I don't get the same from this government. I'm yet to hear a reason for going back to the old hospital. Clearly, the cost, another B factor. Let's just assume that both options are costly. What are the other justifications for going back to the old hospital? I'm pleading to the government to come out and explain their reasoning and give us some comfort with their decisions. I would imagine that they have explained the reason for going back to the old St. Jude Hospital, Mr. Chastanet.
I don't even think that they know. I think it was just simply a campaign promise. Remember, this is the same group of people that campaigned, and up to now I don't understand what the hell they were talking about, but clearly I was wrong, and there were some people who understood it, and nobody can explain it to me today. Horses before hospitals. What was that about? DSH was bringing their own money to the table and doing a horse racing. And they were going to get 400 horses. They were going to be employing, 60 or 70 horses, and they're going to be employing up to 400 people, all at their own expenses. The only thing that the government did is the government agreed to take the land that was going to be used for the horse racing track, about 200 acres, and leased it to them for 99 years. In exchange, they would have constructed the horse racing track, and they would have operated the horse racing track to be a catalyst. So how you say horses before hospitals? I don't know how you can prioritize the lives and livelihoods. We saw during COVID, we did not have the ability to only focus on saving lives. We had to make sure that we coexisted with opening up, and we showed that we could do that. So it clearly is that you could have built the horse racing track and also had the new St. Jude's. This government cannot explain what was the rationale for going back into the old hospital. And even when now they got the loan from the Saudis for $75 million, and it had to be an international standard, and they were struggling to get a plan. I don't even up to now they've gotten a plan approved to be an international standard hospital. But it just tells you their obsession with politics, and we see it all the time. That is what they prioritize. It's always about protecting the victory. It's always about putting politics first. It's not about putting people first. Politics, and we see it with the GPH. We see it with the halls of justice. We see what's taking place even in healthcare. The insistence that they could run healthcare without a healthcare insurance. And then when I heard the minister in the House last time, all he had to do was to call it healthcare insurance. Because that's exactly where they've ended up back when you listen to the description. A dedicated source of monies outside of the consolidated account in which people would make a contribution. Somebody would be making a contribution. He just doesn't want to come out and say that it's going to be the people making the contribution like through a healthcare insurance. But this government are a group of fraudsters. They have lied to the people of St. Lucia, have acted irresponsibly, and sadly, the time that we have lost and the money, exactly what Renaud said, is exactly how they genuinely believe. It doesn't matter how much. They just want to get the hospital open to say they were able to open the hospital.
A final comment, somebody says, based on international standards, the minimum height of a ceiling in any hospital is 2,700 millimeters, which is about 8.86 feet. Rooms which house ICU patients and wards should be at minimum 3,000 millimeters, which is over 9 feet. I bet my bottom dollar none of those ceilings in that hospital meets the minimum.
And the other one we're not commenting on, Tim, is it's 25 different buildings. So when you're in the ward, in order to go into the operational theater, you have to go under a shelter through to go to it. Whereas the building that we were building, everything was in one building. And if you want to call it the irony, I think the irony is being kind. They complained that we broke down 2 buildings. We broke down two buildings, which was the blood bank and the what was it called again? The for diabetes, the dialysis center, because both buildings, right, were structurally damaged. The roof on one was a concrete roof, fully cracked, could not be resolved. The other one had a tree that they built over, so the tree root continuously cracked, was going through the bottom of the floor, and water was coming in. We put in two new buildings, the two boxes, the two mini boxes they talk about. And the reason why those boxes were built outside of the big box is because both dialysis and rehab are both what we call inpatient and outpatient. So it means all the persons who are not in the hospital would not have to come into the main hospital and would be close to where the car park. All of that had been designed. Those are primarily the two buildings that when you look at the video that look the best, because that ceiling is 25 feet high. And all of the utilities are going into that. And that's exactly how a modern hospital is designed and built. When you're telling me the other one wasn't ready, and there was no water and there's no sewage and no plumbing, that's a total lie. All the plumbing, all the electricals, and all of the sewage were connected to the building. All you are waiting for now, all the aluminum studs, when you see the videos, you see all the aluminum framing in. We were just waiting to put the utilities at the top in order for them to come down, and then you would have cladded the aluminum walls. The flooring was a new material, not a new material, old material, where it's a liquid that you put down on the ground that goes fast. It's not about tiling it anymore. All that was ready to go. So even if you want to exaggerate and say, okay, it would have taken you another 8 months, another year to finish the building, and $100 million. How can you compare that now to spending more than $200 million? 4 years has gone by, and you have at best a mediocre hospital that has no growth potential. None. Zero.
Somebody says there, where you went wrong, that's you, Mr. Chastanet, is that you had 3 years of no construction. It showed the hospital was not a priority. And the person continues, had you rectified the faults and finished the current St. Jude as a temporary measure and then went on to build your new hospital, you would have won the election.
I want to disagree with that. We actually started very quickly afterwards. If you remember, within a year and a half, we were already doing the foundation of that building and putting up the structures. Where we lost time was during COVID. That's where we lost the time. And sadly, during COVID, there were supply chain issues that were preventing us from being able to finish the building. The material to construct the outside of the building was all imported, and it got held up in the high seas. There was an issue that took place in the Suez Canal, and it got blocked for a couple of weeks. And because of that, there was a significant backup on the whole thing. But you know what? Anybody who would have an appreciation of a project of that size, and most people will tell you it takes about 15 years to plan a new hospital. So if you're going back to OKEU, sadly took way too long, past the 15 years to be able to do that. And the building that we were building was 20% bigger than OKEU. And I think that any person, a lay person, could have gone there and seen the progress and what we were hoping to do. And again, more importantly, Tim, was the vision. I don't think going back to the old hospital, if you want to grow the South, was an option. Yet this government found a justification in being able to do that. And it's very sad when I hear people who want to continue to support and endorse that decision. I don't think that there should be anybody who can endorse what the government has done. And I'm sorry that we did not get it finished in time. It was certainly the intention to get it finished in time. But COVID was a significant fact. And, you know, Tim, in the House, when I spoke, I took maybe longer than I should have in the beginning. But I felt it was really necessary because we keep on dismissing the period of COVID as if it was some basic shock. I want you to join me and your listeners to join me for a moment. That when we started hearing about COVID in like January, February of 2020, we started seeing the pictures of the thousands of people dying in China. And maybe some of us, because it was China, we know the size of the population, dismissed it. We didn't know if we trusted the news coming out of China. Then all of a sudden we saw Italy. Then we saw France. Then we saw the UK. Then we saw New York City. And all of us have relatives or friends in New York City, so we were getting firsthand testimonials from them. And when COVID first came out, nobody knew what it was. There was just this invisible thing that all of a sudden people were dying in the thousands. There was no medication because nobody even knew what it was. It took a while for the world to grasp what was taking place. So much so that when April of 2020 came, Tim, St. Lucia didn't close its doors. The world closed its doors. Canada stopped letting people travel. The UK stopped letting people travel. The whole world shut down. And you're telling me that people in St. Lucia who have a job and are living hand to mouth, have a home, a mortgage, car with mortgage, with a loan, student loans they're paying for, and all of a sudden their employer, primarily in the tourism industry, calls them in April and say, hotels shut down. We have no help, we have no unemployment insurance in St. Lucia. Where were people going to go? My government anticipated a lot of those things because I benefited from the fact, and I kept saying that I used to work at Air Jamaica during 9/11. I knew the airlines could shut down. I was Minister of Tourism during the recession. I understood economically what was going to take place. And I was the Prime Minister during the hurricanes and climate change crisis, and I understood that we were not going to get money that easily from the developing countries to help solve our problem. So going to work with the banks, I started negotiating with the banks in February of 2020 in order for us to get one blanket statement that we would give a moratorium on loans. I can tell you that the central bank was not in support of that. It was not until April came and the shutdown came that the central bank finally agreed, because I said, here it is here in St. Lucia alone. You're talking about 40,000 employees are going to go home. The first thing they're going to do is call the banks. How 40,000 people are going to be able to call the banks all simultaneously? And the fear that you would have put in. Now, it may seem like a small thing today, but back then, it was a big issue. And then all of a sudden, we had no ventilators. We had not enough medication. We didn't have enough garments, the PPPs that they call it, PPEs, or whatever they used to call the thing. All right? That's how I became good friends with Governor Cuomo. I had to call him. And he was laughing with me. He said, boy, even New York, he was governor at the time, was ordering equipment. And as it was arriving for delivery, other people were coming and outbidding New York. So how we were going to survive? And he was kind enough to help us. The Taiwanese were kind enough to help us. Eventually, the Indians came and gave us vaccines. We wrote the prime ministers, to Boris, to Trump, to Trudeau, to everyone, begging. We could get nothing. And meanwhile, we were making and paying our bills every day. Up to now, people in St. Lucia have no appreciation, zero, to understand the redemption of bonds. We had $800 million of bonds coming due that year, Tim. 25% of those persons did not roll over their bond, wanted their money. So we had to find that $200 million in cash. Government revenues dropped by 50% from $100 million to $50 million. So I'm saying this is that when we talk about issues going on during COVID, it's not about making an excuse. Supply chain issues all around the world. Ships stopped, planes stopped, everything stopped. I didn't come to the people of St. Lucia and cry and say, oh, look what's going on in the world and this, and make excuses. We did our best to find solutions, and I'm proud. I am damn proud what we achieved.
But the only thing in hindsight, the major setback that you experienced, and maybe that is an unforced error, is that it took you, what, 2 to 3 years to finally decide that you're going to construct a new hospital because you had to undertake the necessary assessments.
The audit took 1 year. The audit cost $1 million. So by the time the audit was done, then it took you another 6 months to be able to go and make a decision what you did, which we did. But you're going to tell me holding off for 1.5 years and to save the people of St. Lucia over $200 million, that's not a fair trade-off? Or to make sure that we're doing the right thing? And look at it, even with the report, there are persons out there who want to crucify me and my administration, even though it was an evidence-based decision, and would believe the garbage of some people talking about horses before hospitals, or talking about some chemical and $30 million in 6 months to move in. And here it is. That's what I'm saying. That's the purpose of my call today, was to say the video redeems the decision, and hopefully now solutions can sit back less emotionally. Some people might say I'm being emotional, but I'm not. I'm just passionate about what this issue is. But here it is. We have the evidence for ourselves, Tim, that it was the right decision. And even if it took us 1.5 years, it is a significant decision. You're dealing with people's lives, you're dealing with the future of the country, and you're dealing with limited resources in the country. This government is spending money like a drunken sailor. They're just spending. You know, I want people to enjoy themselves during jazz. It's good. And I like to see the artists playing, and I went to some really great shows. Sisterhood. I also went, Elijah Anatol did the launching of his first movie, a film made here in St. Lucia by a St. Lucian. I'm proud of those things, and when I see St. Lucian artists performing. But the public of St. Lucia are entitled to know how much is it costing, in order that they can make an assessment that I want to see both. I want to see the festival taking place, but I also want to see that there's responsibility. But the behavior of the ministers that I'm seeing there, this is about a showcase. This is about to try to distract people from the pain that they're going through. The denial that this government is going through about what the impact of the cost of living on St. Lucians. Bad policies, bad decisions. We're paying $300 million, Tim, more in taxes this year than we ever have. $300 million. We don't see an improvement in healthcare. We're not seeing an improvement in education. We're certainly not seeing an improvement in roads. Crime continues to be a major problem in this country. And this government does not want to be accountable. So, yes, we took our time, but I think it was the responsible thing to do. Do you think it's too long, 1.5 years? I don't think so. And certainly when we look at the report and the findings of the report, that was a difficult decision to make, because we had to start a new hospital. I don't believe that the decision that this government had to make was as difficult, because you already had a new building on the way. What on earth were you thinking to abandon that and go back to the old building? Who does that? This is crazy. Crazy. I mean, it's absolutely, it's just egregious, and I'm very saddened to the impact it's going to have on the wealth of St. Lucia and the opportunity for growth in St. Lucia. Because it's certainly not a hospital. It's a hospital that when you've moved in was already be outdated. That's what the sad part is. And the box that they're complaining about was a hospital designed earthquake, hurricanes, but more importantly, open spaces. So when the technology in healthcare changes, it's much easier now to make changes internally rather than having to build a new building every single time. All of those things were taken into consideration. So if my administration's at fault anywhere, is maybe we definitely did not do a good enough job of getting people to understand the bigger picture and the technology we're being brought in. But that's, the era that we live in today. There's a lot of misinformation that's out there. I don't complain, but we're going to work much harder next time. And I genuinely believe the people of St. Lucia are now sitting back and seeing, hey, the big difference between Labour and Flabo.
All right, so
the United Workers' Party is very ready for the next elections. We have a great group of young men and women coming in who are at the peak of their careers and who are bringing something to the table to make sure that St. Lucia can continue to prosper and be one of the best in the region. Thanks, Tim.
All right, so thank you so much for speaking with us on this afternoon's NewsSpin program. Somebody says via WhatsApp, Tim, after watching Untold Stories about St. Jude, I would like to ask Mr. Dale Elliott to please make a video of the box also. Let us see if indeed the box was better. We in the South have suffered too long to get second best. Let us see if truly because of politics, the Labour Party deprived us of a stronger and better hospital. Mr. Elliott, we in the South are waiting for a tour of the box. Please and thanks. This is the most monitored talk show in the world. More of your calls and WhatsApp messages still to come, along with an update from Amanda regarding your comments in the chat room.
KFC is bringing the flavor and the vibes with the Jazz Box. Just $30. Get one singer or big crunch sandwich, 5 undipped wings, fries, a biscuit, 16-ounce drink, and a shot at VIP Jazz Weekend for 2. Buy a Jazz Box at any of our 5 KFC locations. Write your name and number on the receipt and drop it in the entry box to enter. Draw takes place May 7th. VIP tickets for May 9th, 10th, and 11th could be yours. Available now till May 31st, only at KFC St. Lucia. Dine in, drive through, or order online at kfcslu.com. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbuta at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Lucelec wishes to advise customers and the public that its customer service offices at the Carolec Building in Sans Souci and VA4 are temporarily closed to facilitate urgent maintenance. The Lucelec Cantonment Office in VA4 is now open on a limited basis, offering all services except payments. The Rodney Bay office remains open to serve customers. Customers who wish to make payments during this closure are encouraged to access the My Account service at myaccount.lucelec.com. SurePay's online and walk-in service options or participating financial institutions. Payments made via SurePay and My Account Direct on weekdays from 8 to 4 p.m. will be processed to customer accounts the same day. Payments made after 4 p.m. will be processed the next business day. For account balances, please dial the Automated Account Inquiry Service line at 457-4433. Customers can access other Lucelec services by using the virtual service desk at www.lucelec.com. The management of Lucelec deeply regrets any inconvenience caused by these closures and thanks its valued customers for their patience and understanding.
I've seen your hair before, and I have something special just for you.
What have we here?
Happy housewarming to me? That's the MNC Home Depot Rewards Card. You'll earn points every time you shop, plus exclusive savings and promotions just for you.
Just for me?
Yes, just for you. Shop in store or online and enjoy a seamless experience.
So I get to treat myself every time I shop?
Exactly. It's time to reward yourself.
MNC Home Depot and Sunbelt Rewards Card. Sign up and reward yourself today at www.mnchomedepot.com.
So fast pay, a new and easy way to pay. So fast pay, so fast pay.
You asked for it and you got it. A quicker way to pay your bills online. It's fast, secure, and easy to use. No registration, no additional fees. Flow is now offering FastPay, an online service that allows you to settle your bills in less than 2 minutes. Need a receipt? FastPay will send it to your email immediately. Use FastPay now for convenience, safety, and efficiency at discoverflow.co/fastpay.
Flow fast pay, 2 minutes and you're on your way.
Flow is keeping you connected.
Stop. How much more pain can you take? Back pain, blinding headaches, numbness, weak knees, spinal injuries, stroke. You've tried everything. Nothing works. Enough. La Clinique du Corps has the experts and technology to diagnose and fix the problem permanently. Our specialist doctors use cutting-edge solutions to treat back pain, knee pain, sciatica, stroke recovery, spinal injuries, arthritis, heel pain, and more. With advanced pain management techniques, we provide fast, effective relief so you can live pain-free. La Clinique du Corps is an approved universal healthcare service provider in St. Lucia, accepting all approved insurance. Take back your life. Call La Clinique du Corps right now at 451-6559 to book your appointment. Pain stops here.
Essie, don't tell me that tire flat again. I just changed the tire.
Wait, what? You just changed that tire?
Well, I bought a used one because you didn't give me enough money.
Oh, I see. Well, you know what? Chivi's Tire Shop only carry brand new quality tires at affordable prices with free installation.
Hey, it seems you're working at Chivi's Tire Shop. How you know all that?
Come on, Brenda. The tire shop down the road from our home in the American Drywall Building.
Oh, yes. I forgot. Well, you know what, Patrick? Let's go there right now. Take your wallet. Let's go.
Chivi's Tire Shop, located at the American Drywall Building, Vic Bouteille. Call or WhatsApp 584-5986. Chivi's Tire Shop. Pay less, drive more.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
This is the world's most monitored talk show. We take your calls right now at 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. As we say, good afternoon to you. Amanda, let's find out what is happening in the chat room.
Good afternoon, Tim. Good afternoon, New Spinners. A few comments from earlier in the chat room. A comment here reads, St. Jude's is a cash cow. One day the truth will come to light. A New Spinner says their only objective was to make it happen. No quality checks, quality control, safety in 2025. Wow. Another comment reads, please don't allow us to have any major calamity down south because those buildings won't cut it as a health institution. We are being honest, if we are being honest and truthful. Someone says there, so because Chastanet started a new hospital with fireproof with a helicopter service, PJP and the house slaves stopped it because of petty politics. Down with this oppressive PJP government and the house slaves that supports them. $265 million gone to waste. Another comment reads, why did the current government not complete the new hospital our money paid for and was started by the UWP administration? My goodness, St. Lucians scream out. A New Spinner says Chastanet was what you built as a first-class hospital was a disaster. No electricals, no plumbing, no gas lines, no separations with cladding, no walls. Everybody saw the leaks when it rained. And secondly, the report by Shanta King, the engineer, stated that the original buildings are salvageable. Another comment reads, the explanation on St. Jude is a day late and $1 short. It was not the public or people of 758 for answers, plans and cost parameters. St. Jude's hospital project is prime for an investigation. Someone says here, the hospital is a new hospital, stop saying old. It's a new building. A commentator reads, Chastanet, you are mad because you are seeing that the government will finish St. Jude's and therefore is poised for endless development, and Castries is developing nicely. Another comment reads, the sad thing is most St. Lucians have not traveled and are living in that third world bubble. So talking or trying to explain what a modern hospital looks like is like alien to these people. All they are used to is galvanized. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Let's see if we have a call on the landline. In the meantime, let's see if we could go through one or two of your comments via WhatsApp. And the WhatsApp platform, somebody says there. Okay, let's see. Let's take a call instead. We have a call? Okay, let's see if we have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air. Hello.
Poleon, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller. You're on the air.
This is my first time I'm calling your show.
Thanks for calling, sir.
Now, I'm calling from the US, as you probably will realize. We're talking about crime. You hear me?
I'm hearing you, sir. All right, something is distracting you. In the background, I could hear you speaking. I could hear myself as well. So turn down the volume of the device that you are using so that you will focus on your contribution.
I put the volume very low, but it looks like
yes. Yes, go ahead with your contribution.
The volume is it's off now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, as a St. Lucian, it sounds very scary. It is scary. Because on Wednesday last week, they killed 3 fellas one time.
Yes.
And the other one, I was told that he's fighting for his life in the hospital.
Yeah.
I think while the government, I will not blame the government for crime because I don't believe no government is encouraging crime. But I think that the government can take some steps to try and solve it. This is getting too serious. Now, my advice for the government, my advice for the government is to change the constitution. Have the judges to put heavier penalties on those fellas who's doing the crime. Because too many times I hear the judges, after the police have arrested those fellas, they give them bill for $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. The fella just go, the mother just go get the money from wherever they are and pay for them, and they go out and do the same nonsense. And they should also come with the idea that police should have the right to go to people's home and search them without a warrant. Because, things are getting out of hand. So things have to be, the government have to put things in place, take some drastic measures. Make sure there are traffic, the police are on the road every day, day and night, stopping minibuses, stopping private cars, go to people's home and search it. Because let me tell you, if that does not happen, last year I think it was, how many people got killed by guns? 70?
Yeah, close to 80 homicides.
This year it will be 100 plus if it continues like this. That cannot continue like this. Don't let young fellas take over St. Lucia with guns. If people are, I'm not in St. Lucia, but I know for sure, people are afraid of going out. Some people go out, but a lot of people are not feeling comfortable going out to fete and going out and relax on the beach and this kind of stuff. I know that for sure. they should do something. They take some drastic measures to stop this kind of nonsense that's going back home.
When was the last time you in St. Lucia, caller?
I just told you.
When was the last time you were?
Change the constitution.
I'm asking you, sir, when was the last time you were in St. Lucia? So that's what I'm asking, because I think you're calling from overseas.
Oh, no, I left St. Lucia 2021.
Okay. 4 years ago. But you continue to monitor what's happening. But you continue to monitor what is happening.
Listen, I'm in America. I don't listen to America radio. I listen to Hot FM, Real FM, your program. It's just that that's the first time I'm calling your program.
Okay.
But when NewsSpin is not on, I don't feel comfortable. I listen to NewsSpin like my life depends on it.
Well, caller, I'm sure that the authorities are listening, and I understand what you're saying, because you do not get a sense from the authorities in St. Lucia that they are anxiously looking forward to bringing this problem under some level of control, because they are not prioritizing and they are not focusing on addressing the issue as consistent as they ought to. So I understand from your point of view the need for there to be greater urgency. So thank you so much for calling, and all the best.
Yeah, now something else I wanted to find out. They have, Radio 100 have What Makes Me Mad. Your program is considered to be the most monitored talk show in the world. Real FM have Zafin Non Saint Lucie. What FM has Dimedu Kisak Affecto? Who listen to those programs?
Caller, everyone listens. I would imagine that the authorities are listening, the police are listening, government ministers, government officials, they are listening to the various talk shows.
People call and make contributions, and it looks like it's just people just speaking and nothing is not being done. Nothing.
The concerns of the ordinary man sometimes is being ignored, sir.
This is not right, because the majority people who call the talk shows are St. Lucians. So those people in authority should listen, take note, and do what the people are recommending, as long as it is making sense.
Okay.
I've been listening. Like I told you, I listen to the program every day, and I wish that program would be on a Saturday and Sunday.
But we can't be on every day, sir. But thank you so much, because we have a number of calls coming in. So thank you so much, and all the best to you, sir. 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Let's see if we have another call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you on the air. Hello?
Yes, hello.
Good afternoon to you, caller. You are on the air.
Good afternoon. I'm calling from New York, and I actually have some serious concern. I'm concerned about how a government could take away the K9 unit and take away metal detectors from the ports. And to me, this is unacceptable, and St. Lucians should fight to get these devices put back in place, because I believe that they're doing this on their own hidden agenda.
That's it, sir?
Yes, and I have a grave concern about that. Where all the guns coming in, and there's no detectors, nothing is being done about it. You know, how can this be?
Well, with regard
how can a government allow this to happen?
With regard to the K9 unit, the Prime Minister at the time said that it was just too costly to have the 3 canines and to have the handlers and also to have the accommodation. You know, it was just costing a little too much. But now the French, they have come to our assistance and they have given us 2 canines, so we are back to a unit consisting of 2 dogs. Are you there, caller?
Yes, I'm here. I am a proud St. Lucian. I was born in the island, and I'm just really, really concerned about, us as St. Lucian as a whole and the way we live and we treat one another. Things need to change.
Absolutely.
I used to hear my grandmother used to say, Saint Lucie, c'est dernier place à sous la terre.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to change that.
Okay, caller.
Seriously.
Thank you so much for your contribution. 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Do we have another call in line via WhatsApp? Good afternoon, you're on the air.
Hello, good afternoon, Tim.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you, caller.
Yes, Tim. I just wanted to, Tim. It is a really sad another blow to our solutions and what we are facing with this present government. And the untold stories that I watched there, where you can actually touch the roof of the hospital, that is a great disaster, Tim. Millions and millions of dollars are spent on this hospital, Tim, and that is what the Viewford people deserve, Tim. I do not even want to talk about the other crises that we are facing, Tim. The water crisis, Tim, we are facing, Tim. The crisis with our visas, Tim. The crisis with we're losing our bananas to England. The crisis at CIP, the millions and millions of dollars that are missing in CIP, Tim. Tim, that is why I keep on telling the Alan Chastanet opposition, let us find a way that we can call an early election, Tim, because this is not working out, Tim. Those guys camping on something that they said that is only going to take bleach and a little bit of thing to fix up the hospital, Tim. You're telling me, Tim, we're going to leave a hospital, a state-of-the-art hospital, whether it's a box, whether it's a square, whatever they want to call it, with all types of services that would benefit the island, to go back to that kind of crap, pardon my French, where Dale Elliott, I'm taller than Dale Elliott, can just touch the roof. A child maybe 16 years, because they're growing tall nowadays, can just touch the roof or do anything. How the equipment will go inside of the Tim? $265 million 4 years later, that's what you're giving us? And you're telling me those guys are for solutions? They must have a way that we need to change our course of history, Tim. And Tim, believe it or not, Tim, I do not think those guys will win the next general election. And if they win that election will be a rigged election, a fraud election. Because you see that Philip JP and Kenny Anthony, those guys are skills and Lucia Dramatic. Kenny Anthony, 10 years of disaster. Kenny Anthony said they couldn't borrow any money anymore. Kenny Anthony stated that the 15% VAT was how did he put it in the house recently there?
Oppressive.
It was a
oppressive
it was
tax.
a very oppressive tax.
Mm-hmm.
But he knew it was an oppressive tax. So why did he put it in the first place? Because the SLP now and the SLP and the Kenny Anthony is the same SLP, you know. Philip JP and Kenny Anthony are the same person watching themselves in the mirror, you know, Tim. Because look, Philip JP come and put that 2.5% health and levy, bringing back the tax to 17%. Alan Chastanet, the price is at $13.50. He cap it at $16.50. Road tax is still there. The water. You remember Kenny Anthony, I put a 10% levy on water. Today, normal solutions cannot even enjoy water. The desilting of the dam has stopped. Tim, it is a total disaster, Tim. I pray for my country and I pray for my people to have the wisdom and see the right from the wrongs. Even if you do not like Alan Chastanet, it is not for Alan Chastanet. Alan Chastanet has already in this life. It is not even for us in this generation, because we are going through it every day. We are struggling every single day. Let us fight for the future generations of this country, Tim. Tim, we used to be the biggest country, the biggest economy in the OECS, Tim. Tim, today people have to money to go St. Vincent in hospitals to do surgery, Tim. And we have ONQ hospital, which is a world-class hospital, Kenya Anthony Bill, do not even have the equipment. I know people who have accidents for months. Tim, accidents, they break their bones or their neck, bone and whatnot. Still at the day like today, only one doctor they have. They have a backlog of people that have to do surgeries to him. And they cannot do surgeries right about now as I'm speaking, because I was speaking to some of my friends. And they tell me, boy, you know, I was in a dreadful accident. And for months now, they pay their money already to do the surgery, you know. But they cannot do the surgery because they do not have the equipment. They have to rent the equipment from St. Vincent. They have to rent the equipment from Martinique. And yet they do not have money. And you tell me they have a health and security levy, Tim, I call in on St. Lucians to do the right thing. Not for themselves, not for their ignorance, not for party. I'm not even speaking on party. I'm speaking on the future generations of this country. It is not good. It is not good. It is not good. Have a blessed one, Tim. Thank you.
You too, sir. Thank you so much. Amanda, what's happening in the chat room?
Tim and NewsSpin says here, this government has introduced many initiatives in our healthcare system, which includes free testing for prostate for pregnant women, folks over 80 years old, support to our nurses, an injection of $11 million into OKEO, many wellness centers built and refurbished, with the Grozile Polyclinic being updated to be opened 24 hours. Another comment reads, "Sir, we appreciate you for the job your administration did, and St. Lucians with common sense, no COVID put a shadow over your tenure." A NewsSpinner says there, a year and a half is not too long. A comprehensive assessment with proper consultation was needed and it takes time. Another comment reads, "Had it not been COVID, the opposition would have delivered St. Jude's Hospital. We are in big trouble under this present government. No vision for growth. That's a laid-back government." Someone says there, St. Jude suffered a project creep of monumental proportion, and any educated person will tell you Chastanet's approach to this was phenomenal. Dr. Stephen King supported the approach, but hour for us. Another comment reads, "They are here enjoying jazz, boasting, and nothing about the young men that got killed on the streets." A NewsSpinner says there, the K9 unit was too costly, but renovations on an old 80-year hospital was not. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you so much. 4522979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Let's see on the line if there's anybody. Somebody says that, Tim, that hospital, pas bon. And let's see, we have a call. You have a call? Good afternoon. NewsSpin, you're on the air. Hello? Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon to you, caller. All right, let's try a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin, you're on the air.
How you doing?
I'm okay, caller. How about you?
I'm cool and easy, man.
Go ahead, please.
Mon ki pa wè mi la gay ki te le radio during Simen la, sorti from Labour Party. Now, sa ki te ni c'était by about Pia. Ou koman se by se madame la ka servia. Ka changer ça comment?
Oui, oui.
Oui. OK. Tim, yo comment non Lisa Zama. Eh bien, mon ba connaître non because c'est pas mon qui parle, pas mon qui nenen. Au government press secretary Labour Party a vini voler mouton les airs avec accused Guy Joseph. Au government team, mon cadeau les straight. Avec ma ramède l'embouchement moi ça dit ça mon pour dire après-midi a. Team, moi était après Guy Joseph déclaration ça dit ça dit a. Team qui joue ça les bon matin les moi lever pomper pour comment moi ça travail. En bas il vient l'idée moi avec il vient l'idée moi positively team. Avec ça qui vient à l'idée mon positif là, mon cadeau team, say that sa Labour Party accused Guy Joseph of dia team. Dia, ça team, mon cadeau, il straight. Now ça. Because ça qui fait là, on a dit ça team, ça qui fait là, maman ni pour point, grave of issue, yo ka l'école, ni l'âge, yo ça ni pire. En bagyo. C'est pas gouvernement ça couille fait parce élection qu'a venir. So yo couille fait. Le problème là c'était maman qui était pour garder about ça team. So ça Guy Joseph dit là, moi pas ouais Guy Joseph dit rien qui wrong. Les bas parti qui couille pour avec fait qu'on a quoi dit ça bagay Guy Joseph dit qui wrong. Guy Joseph pourquoi dit rien qui wrong. Ou goban? Est-ce qu'on commence à me dire à Tim?
Na kopan.
Oui. Because mon ka do ti moi levé, mon ka préparé comment ça vient l'idée moi avec moi dit non, mon ni pour qui est Tim Hardy avec moi ça dit Tim about ça. Les bas parti point avec couille puis a fait mon quoi dit ça Guy Joseph dit I wrong. Guy Joseph pas mêlé avec maman, Guy Joseph pas mêlé avec ses femmes. Guy Joseph mêlé avec ses madame là, il mêlé avec ses ish là. Est-ce ou madame ça là qui press secretary of Labour Party est on ish? Ou ka voler comme monter en les est on ish? Pour savoir comment y Tim mon cadeau li. Tim c'est maman qui ten pour prendre responsabilité pour make sure gestionner pi en bagyo pour aller à l'école. So les bagages ça la vini, yo ça m'a des teachers en chance pour aller en WR, c'est washroom. Ou pour ça nettoyer corps avec faire ça pour faire. Makabay Guy Joseph pièce on aller ça. C'est les bas parti because élection qui vini yo ka couille point voler monter en les c'est con qui brique à pied can. Au goban, c'est comme ça yo fait avec Navier Tim Mabay Guy Joseph pièce on Guy Joseph dit en bon parole. Avec Guy Joseph 100%, a million times dans ce côté. Faille en l'air les bas partis avec Tifia qui peut secrétaire là. Tim, bonjour, merci pour votre chance.
Okay, merci pour crier. What's up, message? Somebody said, Tim, I know you are one journalist that can take good joke. Likewise, I know Dominic Fede is a politician who can take a joke as well. PGP keeps calling you guys short, and guess what? He did a hospital for his favorite short people. 452-2979. Pato is on the line. Dr. Pato, let's see if we can put him on the air. Good afternoon to you, Pato. You're on the air.
Yeah, good afternoon, my brother Tim. Good afternoon and good afternoon to Amanda.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
And a nice good afternoon to one of my new spinners at Miko. Yeah, aka Alfifi. Let me tell you, not you, I'm saying that, I'm just saying that to the world. I feel good listening to Philippe J. Pierre, or Sir Mr. how you want to call him with all due respect. When he said that, today I heard him say that if he speak nonsense, tell him he speak nonsense. And I feel good about you, Prime Minister, for saying that. And I would like to appreciate if you could go in the face of some of your followers that want to criticize people until they wants to crucify you. I don't mind the criticism, but until they want to crucify you for speaking your mind. Okay? I'm going back in reverse. When Mr. Philippe J. Pierre said that to go in their face and tell them they lose, that was not nice enough. That was foolish talk. You know? And if he had asked me to do that, I would ask him to accompany me. Because that is war you're sending me into. Accompany me, let us go into their face. So whatsoever happens, if the person gets out of control and they start firing 2x4, I'll take some blows, you'll take some too. But you cannot stay in your office or wheresoever you are and sending me under the fire. So I'm saying that was foolish talk. And some of the followers today saying what I am saying today, they will send me another warning because they have me now. They're just sending warning to me. I don't know what I have did. I'm saying this.
Pastor, are you talking about what? People threatening you?
In words for now.
Wow.
You understand? Words for now. But what I'm saying, that I don't have the strength to stand by what I say. But I will lie down and I will die by what I say. What I have said, and I will continue to say, you understand, as long as I speak my mind. You know, and I'm glad again that the Prime Minister himself said, if he talk foolishness, tell him he talk foolishness. You know, and I want him to go and to warn his followers. Go in their face and tell them, when he talk foolishness, tell them he talk foolishness. That is what I have to say for now.
All right, Pato. Thank you so much for your contribution and be safe, my brother. 452-2979, 452-2979, along with your WhatsApp calls and messages at 716-2026, 716-2026. Let me turn my attention to Amanda again and let's find out what is happening in the chat room.
Timothy, just a few comments from me. Someone says here, I declare the northern part of the island an escalating crime zone. A comment here reads, none of these things that you are hearing that the government is providing is true. The seniors are complaining every day about having to pay for healthcare services they are being told they will get free. A NewsSpinner says here, T-boutique mentality, no vision, no foresight. They say the airport plan is too big, the hospital plan is too big, Castries Grosile Highway too big. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you so much. We have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon, NewsSpin, you're on the air. Hello. We have a call via. Hello, good afternoon to you, caller. Hello.
Bon après-midi, Tim.
Yes, bon après-midi.
Bon après-midi.
Yes, good afternoon to you.
Tim, ou ka suivre Calypso cette liste comment?
Oui.
Ou connaître Calypso, ou connaître yon se plus gros chanteur Calypso, yon se plus gros c'est Ashanti.
Oui.
Ashanti te fait un chantier, yon ka fouiller false advertisement. Tu vas changer ça?
Oui, oui.
Ah bon. Bon, qui laisse qui est sous radio là pour ces false advertisement là qu'on a fait?
Qui a fait false advertisement?
Ok.
Qui a fait?
L'agence CIP a fait tout bagaille by l'agence cette ici. Hani combien l'année? L'agence cette ici a fait combien bagaille by cette ici? Yo ka fait by l'école, yo ka fait by l'hôpital, yo ka fait tous les l'année CIP a mettre millions à sous millions à sous millions à sous millions dollars sur côté by cette ici. Zoka jouer ça toutes les opérations du gouvernement ça c'est une chose ça l'agence CIP ça pas jamais venu.
Mais quoi si yo ka fait?
C'est parce que Zoka jeune payer.
Pas même ça. Tu m'as dit si gouvernement ka fait et que yo advertise that yo ka fait. Yo ka fait. Qui moun qui moins pour non écoutez-moi là. Qui moun qui moins pour dire gouvernement pas fait. Qui moun qui moins pour dire ça?
Qui moun qui ou pour dire yo menti?
Oui. Massa dit ça.
Qui moun qui ou pour dire ça c'est false advertisement.
Non, ma quoi ça. Massa just assist.
Eh bien, asou radio la team. Asou radio la jodi a team. Moi vle c'est même gouvernement parti les bas. Vini epi document, vini ex student, vini combien moun yo ja bay l'agence CIP ça. Mouche moi c'est pour G a qui ja fait là. Mouche moi tout. Ou élection ka vini. C'est moun nan yo ka vendre chose bay c'est moun nan encore. Songe yo te dit tout citoyen, grand citoyen ça est l'hôpital et que yo pas rien pour payer. Mais au cas de l'histoire ces gens, ces gros citoyens qui a Saint Jude là, yo ka dit mais gouvernement dit yo pas payer, yo c'est nos là ka dit directement yo pas connaître rien ça. Tout ça c'est false advertisement. And Tim, it's time St. Lucian stand up and realize that the lies that they are buying from politicians is where the United States is now with Trump. The same thing will happen to us if this time around we buy these lies from these politicians. The CIP money, I have not seen what it's doing, neither for hospitals, neither for students, neither for nothing like that. So it's about time these false advertisements stop. It's about time the government should take the lead and say, let me stop lying to our people. Thank you, Tim.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for calling. 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Somebody says that via WhatsApp, a better option to this idea to procure an allocation for sanitary napkins in schools was to remove all duties on them, period. Make it available and totally affordable to women on a whole, and in turn it would now be affordable to the young ones in need of it. This program is heading for the drains. It would now lead to a situation where young girls in schools are privileged to request napkins on a daily basis and probably in various amounts to be able to even take home to provide or distribute them to their female family members who would most likely be financially compromised and not be able to afford them either. 17 constituencies and over 20 secondary schools on island, even primary schools. You think this allocation is of any essence? Let me see if I have another WhatsApp message. And somebody says there via WhatsApp. Tim, the United Workers' Party get back in power. They need to speak to the people. Let us know what they are doing and don't leave it for us to speculate. Happy to know that Spider is the PRO, so you can educate the public on what the party is doing. But he says, Tim, you see how violent the SLP supporters are? They are threatening a blind, sick man. Shaking my head. Then again, they are listening to their leaders. Another WhatsApp message. Too much useless killings in Little St. Lucia. Not a word from our crime prevention minister. Jazz is more important than the lives of those young men that lost their lives on Wednesday. No minister will reach out to these grieving families, but come election, these same ministers will reach out to the same families and ask them to vote for them. What a shame. Still to come on the most monitored talk show in the world. Some more of your calls and strides being made by a St. Lucian-born politician in a Caribbean nation.
On Saturday, June 14th, as the island ignites at Lumina, taking over Project Chocolat, Mikal Teja. Mikal Teja. Mikal Teja.
Say it cold out in New York City. If you're yes, she ballin'. I need a little rundown.
Alongside soca sensations Ezra and Sly. Backed up by the electrifying Impulse Band. Music by Hype Kid, A1 Jugglers, the Caleb DJ Sir Lancelot. Powered by Island Sounds. Hosted by MC Donoville. Tickets $130, no door sales. Get yours at the Cell, Island Wide, Mambo's Bar in Soufriere, or online at 4circlestickets.com. On Saturday, June 14th, Lumina. From 7 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. Dress code Caribbean chic.
Lucelec wishes to advise customers and the public that its customer service offices at the Carolec building in Sans Souci and Vieux-Fort are temporarily closed to facilitate urgent maintenance. The Lucelec Cantonment office in Vieux-Fort is now open on a limited basis, offering all services except payments. The Rodney Bay office remains open to serve customers. Customers who wish to make payments during this closure are encouraged to access the My Account service at myaccount.lucelec.com. SurePay's online and walk-in service options or participating financial institutions. Payments made via SurePay and My Account Direct on weekdays from 8 to 4 p.m. will be processed to customer accounts the same day. Payments made after 4 p.m. will be processed the next business day. For account balances, please dial the automated account inquiry service line at 457-4433. Customers can access other Lucelec services by using the virtual service desk at www.lucelec.com. The management of Lucelec deeply regrets any inconvenience caused by these closures and thanks its valued customers for their patience and understanding.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Here's a fun fact. In just 29 seconds, you can say goodbye to paper bills forever. Seriously, in 29 seconds. That's less time than this ad. Head over to discoverflow.co or visit us in-store and update your contact information now. By October 1st, your bills will be digital, easy to access, secure, and hassle-free. So what are you waiting for? This ad still has 2 seconds left, and you could have already gone paperless.
I in a good spirit. I drink in a good
St.
spirit.
Lucia, are you ready for the ultimate all-inclusive?
Chalet Blanc, the all-white event. Tier 1 now available at Frontline Ticketing, Eventbrite, Digital Baywalk Mall, 4 Circles Ticketing, or WhatsApp at 240-344-8629. A musical journey curated by the best local and international DJs. St. Lucia Carnival Saturday, July 19th, 1 p.m. to 8 p.m.
At Sanders Golf and Country Club, Kappa State.
Look something to talk about.
Unlimited drink, brunch buffet, top class entertainment.
Stay tuned. This event is powered by One Golden Fox and Natalie Events.
Stop. How much more pain can you take? Back pain, blinding headaches, numbness, weak knees, spinal injuries, stroke. You've tried everything. Nothing works. Enough. La Clinique du Corps has the experts and technology to diagnose and fix the problem permanently. Our specialist doctors use cutting-edge solutions to treat back pain, knee pain, sciatica, stroke recovery, spinal injuries, arthritis, heel pain, and more. With advanced pain management techniques, we provide fast, effective relief so you can live pain-free. La Clinique du Corps is an approved universal healthcare service provider in St. Lucia, accepting all approved insurance. Take back your life. Call La Clinique du Corps right now at 451-6559 to book your appointment. Pain stops here.
I've seen you here before, and I have something special just for you. What have we here? Happy housewarming to me? That's the MNC Home Depot rewards card. You'll earn points every time you shop, plus exclusive savings and promotions just for you.
Just for me?
Yes, just for you. Shop in store or online and enjoy a seamless experience.
So I get to treat myself every time I shop?
Exactly. It's time to reward yourself.
MNC Home Depot and Sunbelt Rewards Card. Sign up and reward yourself today at www.mnchomedepot.com.
This is the most monitored doctor in the world. It is called NewsSpin. In 2011, this well-known St. Lucian educator unsuccessfully contested the general election on behalf of the LPM. She contested the Castries Central seat, and she did so unsuccessfully. But she has not given up, went on to live over in Barbados, where she is a lecturer. Her name is Felicia Dujon, previously Felicia Brown, and a vacancy appeared in the Parliament of Barbados just recently because a Barbados Labour Party MP retired, and so as a result, there is need for a by-election which is scheduled for May the 21st, and Felicia Dujon will be contesting the St. James North seat on an opposition Democratic Labour Party ticket. Let's hear from her.
Tell them Felicia Dujon can walk the walk, she can talk the talk, and she's strong enough to climb those hills, the valleys, and to reach in every constituent. When the time comes, we will be there with them. So the people of St. James North, you have a woman to defend your rights. You have a woman that will stand up and be there for you every single day. I am not here to take the taxpayers' money and be flying all over the place. I am here for you. I am here for you. I am not here to come and get your vote so that I can add additional accolades to my name. No, I don't need any of that. All I need is for my banana trees to grow.
Felicia Dujon, a St. Lucia national who is seeking to become an MP over in Barbados, contesting the May 21st by-election for the St. James North seat on an opposition DLP ticket, Democratic Labour Party. 4522979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. We're waiting for at least one final call. Somebody says that, Tim, when last have you heard anything about any killing by the Minister of National Security or of Crime Prevention? Jazz and Carnival, they are more important to them.
than the mayhem and bloodshed happening in St. Lucia. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. Tim, simple logic. If there is period poverty in schools, what about the parents/caregivers of these students? Are they able to afford it and not their children? Can't wrap my head around it. The best thing was to put an affordable, controlled price for all women of this country. Another WhatsApp message. I'm listening to the show. I'm not a supporter of any party, but I'm so disappointed with Guy Joseph. If the current MP has said they will be providing sanitary towels, this is an amazing idea. Young women have a hard enough time at school having to learn, and the last thing that they need to be worrying about while they're sitting in a class is their period starting and they may not have towels in their bag. It would be amazing if the school could provide these. I'm quite sure that if there was an issue affecting young men, the conversation would be very different. Another one, Tim. Why is Alan Chastanet the one speaking on the woes of the St. Jude Hospital? You should allow the United Workers' Party selected candidate, Lady Lee, to speak on issues affecting the constituency, which she has been selected to contest on behalf of the United Workers' Party. He should have enough trust in his endorsed candidate to articulate the position of the party and her own opinion on issues regarding her constituency. But this whole issue certainly predates Lady Lee becoming the candidate for VA4 South. This was, when you're talking about St. Jude Hospital, a major health institution on the island, the then Prime Minister, Mr. Alan Chastanet, would have presided over the cabinet and taken the decision to construct a new hospital instead of going to the old building. So therefore, he has the institutional memory, he has the first-hand information on this particular project and the nuance involved compared to Lady Lee, who was certainly not involved in politics at the time that he would have presided over this particular project. WhatsApp message reads, we are not serious in this country, St. Lucia. Tim, do you know that the very deputy police commissioner who is under investigation for whatever is the very man who is the deputy in charge of crime? So how can St. Lucians take the police serious about fighting crime? Then you have a former police constable. Okay, not the real. Shouldn't continue with this one at all. Making implications that definitely we will not be able to prove to be correct. Somebody says that, Tim, could you please ask the authorities when will Serenity Park be reopening? And another one says, hi again, Tim. The Halls of Justice project moved to the Judah location is not a sound investment. When the cost of the land, the cost of the first site, construction costs, furnishing costs, parking costs, and the significant costs of disruption are added, this is deemed a bad investment. It should be stopped. It turns out that the plan proposed will generate the most expensive parking in the Caribbean for 42 lots. And another WhatsApp message. Tim, the disclosure by the opposition leader makes great sense. Healthcare at the time and now requires prudence. It was a prudent thing to undertake the report. The opportunities for expansion and updating healthcare at St. Jude Hospital using the new building far outweigh the decision to go back to the old building. It will also have been cheaper. I would like to see an assessment of the amount of money spent by each party on St. Jude's with a value for money evaluation. The person continues, I concur the dismantling of the security system by discontinuing the K9 unit and delay in reintroducing the X-ray at ports both contribute to the crime problem. Coupled with poor leadership and apparent corrupt practices, we land in the position we are in today. We need solutions to think strategically and look beyond the manipulation and fear-mongering. Our NewsSpin question of the day, it reads, what role will the reopening of the St. Jude Hospital play in determining the outcome of the island's next general election? Once again, our NewsSpin question of the day reads, what role will the reopening of St. Jude play in determining the outcome of the island's next general election? And finally, the NewsSpin news of the day. The NewsSpin news of the day reads, Israel plans to capture all of Gaza under new plan. Israel plans to capture all of Gaza under new plan. That's the NewsSpin of the day. NewsSpin News of the day, and that is the broadcast as well. Thank you so much for watching and listening to another edition of the world's most monitored talk show. My name is Timothy Poleon. Good afternoon.